What is wealth? To most men and women it is a mystery, an elusive treasure they chase in the outer world, never realizing that the key has always been hidden within themselves. The mind, steeped in doubt and fear, looks outward and says, if only I had more money, if only I had better circumstances, if only luck would come my way. Yet the deeper truth is this: wealth is not created from the outside in, but from the inside out. Wealth is first a vibration, an impression planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. And once it takes root there, it expresses itself as abundance, as opportunities, as doors opening that were once closed. The law of life is the law of belief. Say it to yourself. Write it upon the tablet of your heart. The law of life is the law of belief. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. When you pray, you are not begging a distant God to drop coins from the sky. Prayer is not pleading, it is aligning. It is the scientific act of impressing a picture of wealth, harmony, and divine provision upon your subconscious mind until it accepts it as true. Once impressed, it must be expressed. You cannot escape this law any more than you can escape the law of gravity. Your subconscious does not argue, it does not reason, it simply acts upon the command given by your conscious mind. If you say, I am poor, your subconscious will faithfully create conditions that reflect poverty. If you say, I am rich in spirit and in supply, then that becomes the blueprint it follows. So I tell you now, begin to choose your words with care. Your every thought is a prayer, your every sentence is a decree. The world you inhabit tomorrow is being shaped by the words you speak today. There was once a young man consumed with fear of poverty. Every day he repeated the same inner lament: I never have enough. Nothing works out for me. His subconscious, obedient and loyal, manufactured circumstances that mirrored his belief. He lost jobs, he quarreled with employers, he found bills piling up faster than opportunities. But one day he shifted. Instead of repeating the old poison, he began to affirm a new truth. I am one with the infinite riches of my subconscious mind. Opportunities flow to me in divine order. Money is drawn to me as the rivers are drawn to the sea. He wrote these words. He repeated them morning and night, and he felt them as though they were already true. Within weeks he was offered a position that not only met his needs but opened doors he never thought possible. He learned what I now teach you. What is impressed is expressed. Remember it. Write it down. Say it out loud. What is impressed is expressed. Wealth is not a number in your bank account. Wealth is a state of consciousness. It is harmony with the flow of life, alignment with the river of divine abundance that is always moving, always available. Picture a hose filled with water, ready to nourish the garden. If you place your foot upon the hose, the flow is blocked. The water has not ceased to exist, but your pressure has obstructed it. So too with wealth. Resentment, fear, jealousy, and doubt are the foot upon the hose. Remove them, and the current of divine prosperity rushes freely into your life. Remove them, and you discover that abundance was never scarce, only obstructed. So I urge you now, release resentment, release envy, release the thought that wealth is reserved for others, and not for you. Let the flow begin. Say within yourself, I am a river of life. I am a channel of wealth. I am open and receptive to infinite supply. The great secret of prayer is to think from the end, not toward it. Do not pray as a beggar who hopes that maybe someday something will happen. Pray as the master architect who has already built the structure in imagination and now watches it unfold in the visible world. Suppose you desire financial freedom. Do not say, someday I will be free. Instead, close your eyes, still your mind, and see yourself already free, walking into your home paid in full, blessing others with your generosity, smiling in peace because debts are no longer chains but memories. Feel it real. Live in that state until your subconscious accepts it as the only reality. Then the unseen forces move. Circumstances rearrange themselves. People appear. Opportunities emerge. This is not superstition, it is law, the law of subconscious belief. And I invite you now to say it with me, to ingrain it. The law of life is the law of belief. You must also understand the sacred power of I am. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. Say, I am poor, and poverty follows. Say, I am wealthy in every area of my life, and that becomes the seed planted in the soil of your mind. Your subconscious does not distinguish between true or false. It only acts upon what it is told with feeling. So attach only what you wish to see manifest. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Let your subconscious drink deeply of these affirmations. Each night as you drift into sleep, whisper the words, I am prosperous. I am guided by infinite wisdom. I am supplied in abundance, pressed down, shaken together and running over. Let these words sink in, for in that drowsy state your conscious guard is lowered, and the subconscious absorbs the command like fertile earth receiving the seed. When fear and doubt rise, and they will, do not finish the negative sentence. If the thought arises, I can't pay this bill, immediately replace it with, infinite intelligence supplies me with all I need at every moment. Divine order is at work. Never allow the negative seed to complete itself, for what is impressed is expressed. Reverse it at once. This is prayer in action, the prayer of vigilance, the prayer of guardianship over your own mind. You are the watchman at the gate of your subconscious. Stand firm. Choose life. Choose wealth. Choose abundance. The world cannot dictate your inner speech unless you consent. So consent to prosperity, not lack. Consent to joy, not despair. Consent to divine supply, not limitation. It is done unto you as you believe. Do not make the mistake of thinking you must manipulate others to become wealthy. There is no one to change but yourself. If you change your inner belief, if you saturate your subconscious with images of prosperity and security, the outer world reshapes itself accordingly. The businessman who fears competition attracts loss. The one who blesses his rivals and affirms that divine supply is limitless prospers beyond expectation. Life mirrors your inner state. Do not try to force the mirror. Change the face you show to it. Change the belief you carry within. Then the reflection cannot help but follow. Your environment, your finances, your opportunities are the mirror of your dominant thoughts. So choose wisely, plant richly, cultivate with faith and joy, and your harvest will be abundant. I want you now to do more than listen. I want you to participate. Take a piece of paper. Write upon it these words, I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. Say it aloud. Feel it in your chest. Let your subconscious hear it. Let it record it. Let it begin to act upon it. For you are a channel of the infinite. The riches you seek are not out there. They are waiting within, ready to flow outward as soon as you give the command. So let the command be bold. Let it be filled with faith. Let it be consistent. And as you walk from this moment, carry it with you. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. Do you realize that every coin, every opportunity, every connection in your life is simply an outer shadow of an inner conviction? Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you magnetize. A magnet does not strain to attract iron. It simply is, and by being it draws. In the same way, when you accept in your subconscious the belief that you are supplied, you cannot help but draw to yourself money, ideas, and people who match that vibration. This is why men who brood on scarcity find themselves surrounded by it, while those who believe they are heirs to divine abundance walk into rooms and see doors opening where others see only walls. The mind you cultivate is the magnet you carry. If you desire wealth, do not begin by running after it. Begin by convincing yourself inwardly that it is already yours. You may protest, but my bank account is empty, my debts are heavy, my circumstances are against me. Yes, that may be the appearance, but appearances are never final. The subconscious mind does not work by appearances. It works by impressions. The moment you impress upon it the image of financial freedom, it sets to work like a silent engine, rearranging the circumstances of your life. If you hold to the image with persistence and faith, the conditions must follow, because every condition is an effect, and every thought is a cause. So do not be deceived by the visible. Hold fast to the invisible. Say to yourself, though I see lack before me, I choose to believe in abundance within me. Though the world may say no, infinite intelligence whispers yes. Though the doors seem closed, my faith is the key that opens them. A woman once came to me in despair. Her bills exceeded her income, and she lived each day in dread of the next. I told her not to pray for money as if it were outside her, but to pray for recognition of the source within her. Each night before sleep, I instructed her to repeat, God's wealth flows freely in my life. I am supplied at every moment. Divine order governs all my affairs. At first she did it mechanically, but over time the words sank deep into her subconscious. Within a month, unexpected checks began arriving. Opportunities for part-time work appeared, and relatives offered assistance without her asking. The outer changed because the inner shifted, and when the inner shifts, the universe obeys. Let her story remind you, never pray as a beggar, always pray as a creator. Consider the farmer. He does not plant seeds today and dig them up tomorrow to see if they are growing. He plants, he waters, he trusts. Your subconscious mind is the soil of your life. Every thought you impress upon it is a seed. Do not sabotage yourself by planting seeds of abundance one day and digging them up with doubt the next. Plant consistently. Water with affirmations. Shield the soil from weeds of fear. Then wait with expectancy, for the harvest will come in divine order. This is the law of cause and effect. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Do not treat this as poetry. Treat it as law. And I urge you now to say it with me and write it upon your heart. I sow seeds of wealth, and I reap a harvest of abundance. Another man I knew was an engineer who constantly complained of obstacles. Every project he touched was plagued with delays and failures. He came to me weary, asking what he was doing wrong. I asked him, "What words do you feed your mind?" He admitted that every morning he began with the thought, "Nothing ever works out for me." That confession was the blueprint. His subconscious built according to the plan he provided. I told him to reverse it, to begin each day with the words, "Infinite intelligence guides me." Every project unfolds in divine order. What I start is completed successfully. He resisted at first, but soon he surrendered to the practice. Within months he completed a project that won him recognition and promotion. The outer followed the inner. Remember, your subconscious cannot resist, it only executes. Give it a divine plan, and it will construct it with precision. There is no greater stumbling block to wealth than resentment, envy another man's riches, and you have shut the door to your own. Why? Because resentment is a declaration to your subconscious that you are separate from the flow of abundance, that others have it but you do not. The subconscious then confirms this belief by creating more lack. Instead, bless the wealth you see. Rejoice in the prosperity of others. Affirm silently, "What God has done for others, He is now doing for me." In this way you dissolve envy and plant the seed of shared abundance. A river does not resent the streams that flow beside it. It simply moves in its course, confident that its source is infinite. Become like that river, and you will find envy replaced with expectancy. Prayer, when done correctly, is not repetition of empty words, but saturation of the subconscious with a living image. If you desire wealth, close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of it. See the home you live in. Hear the laughter of your family free from worry. Feel the peace of financial security. Do not strain. Simply relax and let the image form. Then repeat an affirmation that seals it. I am a channel for divine riches. Wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. Say it with feeling, for it is the feeling that impresses. Repeat it often, for repetition engraves it deeper. Trust it, for trust waters the seed. And know that when the subconscious accepts it, nothing can prevent its expression. Do not be surprised if the answer comes in unexpected ways. The subconscious uses whatever channels are open. Sometimes it is a new idea. Sometimes a friend offers an opportunity. Sometimes an old door suddenly swings wide. Do not limit the infinite by dictating the method. Simply know the end is secure, and let the how take care of itself. The moment you decide wealth is already yours, you will begin to see coincidences, synchronicities, and sudden breaks that all point in one direction, manifestation. So let go of control, but hold fast to belief. The law cannot fail you, as within so without. Let us seal this part with affirmation. Take your paper and write these words. I sow thoughts of abundance, and I reap wealth in divine order. Speak it aloud. Feel its truth. Repeat it until it imprints itself upon your subconscious. The seed is planted. The harvest is certain. The law cannot fail, because the law of life is the law of belief. And as you believe, so shall it be done unto you. There is a profound truth that many overlook. Money itself is neutral, but your attitude toward it determines whether it blesses or curses your life. If you secretly despise money, if you call it evil or think it corrupts all who touch it, you repel it. The subconscious mind hears that confession and interprets it as a command to keep wealth far from you. But if you honor money as a tool of divine supply, if you see it as God's good circulating in your life, then it becomes a servant, not a master. It is written that the love of money is the root of all evil, but not money itself. Money is like water, it carries whatever you pour into it. Use it to bless and it multiplies blessings. Use it in fear and it multiplies fear. So I tell you, purify your attitude toward wealth. See it as divine substance flowing through you, never owned but always entrusted. A businessman once told me he could never hold on to money. As soon as he earned it, it slipped through his fingers. When I probed deeper, he admitted that as a child he heard constant quarrels between his parents about money. Subconsciously, he associated money with conflict, guilt, and loss. His subconscious, loyal to its early programming, ensured that money would flee from him to protect him from imagined pain. I taught him to recondition his subconscious with a new belief. Money is God's good in action. I use it wisely, constructively, and judiciously. Money is constantly circulating in my life, and I rejoice in its flow. He repeated this daily, visualizing himself paying bills with ease, blessing others with generosity, and investing wisely. Gradually, the pattern shifted. He began to save. Opportunities to invest appeared, and his finances stabilized. Remember, wealth is not a mystery. It is the natural reflection of your dominant beliefs. Your subconscious mind does not resist the truth once it is impressed upon it. But you must feed it the truth consistently, just as you would feed your body daily. Do not affirm prosperity once and then starve your mind with hours of fear and resentment. Just as one meal cannot sustain you for life, one affirmation cannot override years of conditioning unless it is repeated, felt, and trusted. Begin and end each day with affirmations of abundance. Let them be the first words you speak in the morning and the last you whisper before sleep. This is prayer in its highest form, not asking but affirming, not pleading but knowing. For to affirm with faith is to plant the seed and allow the law to bring it to harvest. Do not believe for a moment that you are limited by your current occupation, education, or social standing. Infinite intelligence knows no limitation. It can raise a man from obscurity to influence, from poverty to abundance, when that man dares to believe. You are not a victim of chance. You are a channel of divine power. The circumstances you face today are simply the reflection of the beliefs you held yesterday. Change your beliefs, and tomorrow changes with them. If you believe you are confined, your subconscious builds walls. If you believe you are free, your subconscious opens doors. So choose freedom now. Say within yourself, I am open and receptive to the guidance of infinite intelligence. Wealth, ideas, and opportunities flow to me in perfect sequence. And as you repeat these words, know that you are not creating the flow, you are aligning with the flow that has always been. When you think of wealth, do not merely think of money. Think of vitality in your body, harmony in your relationships, peace in your mind, creativity in your spirit. For wealth is wholeness. A man who piles up gold but has no joy is poor. A woman who earns millions but lives in fear is destitute. True wealth is balanced prosperity, abundance in every area of life. The subconscious mind does not discriminate between material and immaterial. It manifests according to the images impressed. So picture yourself not only with financial freedom, but with radiant health, loving relationships, inner serenity. See yourself as a complete being, lacking nothing. This image, once accepted by the subconscious, will externalize as true wealth. Money will come, but so will peace. Opportunities will arrive, but so will joy. That is the kind of wealth worth seeking. The law of belief demands participation. If you only listen and nod, you remain unchanged. But if you act, if you write, affirm, visualize, and repeat, you impress the law upon your being. Right now, take a sheet of paper. Write these words, I am guided by infinite intelligence. All that I need is supplied in divine order. Say it aloud. Say it with conviction. Let your subconscious hear and accept it. This is no idle ritual. This is the deliberate act of programming your inner mind. Just as a captain steers the ship by giving orders to the crew below deck, you steer your destiny by giving commands to your subconscious. The crew does not question, it obeys. So give it the right commands. Do not say, I can't afford it. Say, I am supplied in abundance. Do not say, I am unlucky. Say, I am guided and prospered in all my ways. Faith is not hoping that something may happen someday. Faith is knowing that it is already true in the invisible and trusting that it must appear in the visible. When you plant a seed, you do not beg it to grow. You trust the soil, the rain, the sun, and the law of life to bring forth the harvest. Faith is confidence in law. The subconscious mind is law, precise and impartial. It does not play favorites, it does not punish, it does not reward. It simply creates according to the pattern given. So give it the pattern of wealth, the pattern of abundance, the pattern of prosperity. Hold it in mind with calm conviction, and the law must act. It cannot fail, for it is law. And as you walk in faith, you will find that wealth begins to flow, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. Do not be discouraged if results do not appear immediately. A seed takes time to sprout. A flower takes time to bloom. The subconscious works in silence, unseen and unheard, but always working. When you pray, when you affirm, when you visualize, you are setting in motion forces that may not be visible to the eye, but are rearranging the tapestry of your life. Trust the process. Rest in the assurance that every repetition, every affirmation, every image is moving you closer to manifestation. The day will come when the invisible becomes visible, when what you once held only in thought appears in form. Until then, walk in gratitude as if it were already so. Gratitude is the perfume of faith. Gratitude seals the prayer with certainty. And so I leave you with this exercise. Tonight before sleep, repeat these words softly, letting them sink deep into your subconscious. I am a channel of infinite abundance. Wealth flows to me in divine order, blessing me and all whom I touch. Say it 7 times. Write it 3 times. Let it imprint upon your mind. For as you believe, so shall it be. The law is faithful, the law is unfailing, the law is at work even now. Align with it and you will see wealth rise within you and around you as naturally as the sun rises in the morning sky. The greatest illusion that keeps people trapped in lack is the belief that wealth is outside themselves, belonging only to others, dispensed by fate or withheld by chance. They look at those who prosper and say, they are lucky. They were born into opportunity. They had advantages I did not. Yet this is not truth, but shadow. The reality is that wealth begins not with chance, but with choice, not with inheritance, but with inner belief. The richest man alive without faith in himself will lose it all, while the poorest man who believes he is one with infinite supply will find opportunities rushing to him like rivers to the ocean. Life mirrors the conviction of your subconscious, not the accidents of circumstance. Change the conviction, and the circumstances must change with it. There was a young woman who came to me filled with bitterness. She worked tirelessly, yet felt unseen, unrecognized, and underpaid. Her resentment grew until it poisoned her thoughts. I told her plainly that no employer could truly rob her unless she consented to it in her subconscious. If she believed she was undervalued, life would reflect that belief through every person she met. She resisted at first, but gradually she began to affirm daily, I am worthy of wealth and recognition. Infinite intelligence raises me up in divine order. I prosper wherever I go. Within a short time, she received a new opportunity at double her salary, and her confidence blossomed. It was not magic, it was law. What she impressed upon her subconscious was expressed in her outer world, and what you impress will be expressed in yours. You must therefore see money as a servant, not a master. Many live in fear of it, chasing it, bowing to it, fretting over it, until money becomes their ruler. But wealth in its highest form is not slavery, it is freedom. Money is divine energy in circulation, a means by which the unseen becomes seen, the invisible becomes visible. Do not cling to it, for clinging suffocates flow. Do not despise it, for despising repels its presence. Instead, treat it with reverence. Bless it, use it wisely, and let it circulate. If you hoard in fear, it stagnates. If you spend with joy and wisdom, it multiplies. See every dollar as a seed. Plant it with intention, and it will return multiplied. Fear says, I must hold tightly, for there is not enough. Faith says, I release joyfully, for I live in an infinite supply. The subconscious is not impressed by idle wishes. It is moved by vivid images, strong feelings, and repeated affirmations. That is why visualization and prayer are so powerful. When you pray for wealth, do not recite empty words. See it, feel it, experience it in imagination until it becomes more real to you than the lack you see with your eyes. Let your prayer be a rehearsal of the future you have already claimed. If you desire to be free of debt, do not picture yourself bound by bills. Instead, see yourself writing checks with ease, receiving letters of paid in full, blessing your creditors with gratitude. Let the picture be soaked in feeling, for feeling is the language of the subconscious, and what it feels, it creates. And as you dwell upon this image nightly, you will discover that the subconscious goes to work to make it so. You may wonder why some pray for wealth and see no results. It is because they pray with their lips while their hearts repeat the opposite. Outwardly they say, God prospers me, but inwardly they mutter, I can't make it. Nothing ever works out. The subconscious does not hear the lips, it hears the heart. It hears the dominant thought and feeling, not the fleeting phrase. This is why consistency is vital. The farmer who plants 1 seed of corn and 100 seeds of thorns cannot expect a harvest of corn. So too the mind that plants 1 affirmation of abundance and 100 complaints of lack cannot expect prosperity. You must train yourself to become vigilant, guarding every thought, every word. If a negative arises, cancel it at once and replace it with the positive. Reverse it immediately and wonders will happen. Every thought is a prayer, every image a command. You cannot escape this truth. The subconscious does not sleep. It does not rest. It does not take holidays. It works day and night, ceaselessly creating according to the pattern impressed upon it. If you want wealth, you must therefore impress wealth continually. Speak it, write it, visualize it, feel it, let it saturate your mind until it becomes the atmosphere of your being. Then wealth will cease to be something you chase. It will become something you radiate. And like iron to a magnet, people, opportunities, and resources will be drawn to you without effort. You will not need to force or manipulate, for the law of attraction is impersonal, infallible, and irresistible. There is also the law of forgiveness, and without it your wealth will be hindered. If you hold resentment, you tie yourself to poverty. Resentment is a chain that binds your mind to the very conditions you hate. But when you forgive, you release the chain, and the river of abundance flows again. A man once came to me with financial ruin pressing upon him. He had been cheated in business and could not let go of his anger. I told him that as long as he clung to resentment, he was affirming lack. But if he could forgive, he would open himself to prosperity. Reluctantly, he began to repeat, "I release this man to God. I wish him well." Divine love dissolves everything unlike itself. As he did, his bitterness softened, and in time new opportunities appeared. Debts were paid, and his finances revived. Forgiveness had cleared the dam. Let us make this practical now. Take your paper once again. Write these words. I forgive all and I prosper freely. Say them aloud. Say them with conviction. As you release resentment, you release wealth. As you forgive, you open the channel. Remember, divine love dissolves everything, unlike itself. Hold to this law, and abundance will flow unobstructed. This is not sentimental, it is scientific. For the subconscious mind, once freed of bitterness, becomes a fertile ground for prosperity. And so I charge you now. Walk as one already wealthy. Think as one already supplied. Pray not as a beggar, but as a master. Affirm daily, I am open and receptive to divine abundance. Wealth circulates in my life with ease, blessing me and blessing all whom I meet. Let these words soak into your mind. Let them echo in your heart. Let them guide your steps. For wealth is not outside you. Wealth is within you. And as you believe, so shall it be done. Wealth begins with an inner choice to live as if abundance were already present. And this choice must be made again and again until it becomes second nature. Many treat prosperity like a stranger at the door, hesitating to invite it in, doubting whether it has come for them. But the man or woman who prospers is the one who welcomes abundance as a rightful guest, seated already at the table of life. This welcome is not arrogance but alignment. You were not created to scrape by in fear and limitation. You were created as a channel of infinite intelligence, designed to express richness, harmony, and generosity. When you awaken to this truth, you stop begging and start declaring. You stop pleading with God to give, and you start allowing God to flow. For the law is clear, as within so without. If you dwell in wealth inwardly, it must appear outwardly. A young student once confessed to me that he feared desiring wealth because he thought it was selfish. His conscience was burdened by the idea that prosperity was at odds with spirituality. I explained to him that this belief itself was the barrier. The infinite is boundless. To desire wealth is not to rob another, but to express more of the divine. Poverty does not serve God, abundance does. When you prosper, you are able to create, to give, to bless, to uplift. Lack limits your ability to serve, but abundance multiplies it. I told him to affirm daily, I desire abundance because it is God expressing through me. I prosper in order to bless others. Within weeks, his life brightened with opportunities he had long ignored. He realized that desiring wealth was not greed, but obedience to divine law. Remember always, there is no virtue in scarcity, but there is power in plenty. The subconscious mind is like a great reservoir of untapped riches. Most people stand thirsty beside it, begging for drops of water, when all they must do is open the channel. You open the channel by directing thought, by planting images, by affirming with feeling. If you fill the subconscious with pictures of bills, failures, and fears, it releases streams of lack. But if you fill it with visions of abundance, supply, and generosity, it releases rivers of prosperity. The reservoir does not choose, it only flows according to the command you give. This is why I tell you that prayer is not asking, but directing. It is the conscious act of impressing the subconscious with the pattern of wealth, so that the subconscious can faithfully outpicture it in form. One of the most effective methods is visualization before sleep. In that drowsy state, when the conscious guard grows quiet, the subconscious is most receptive. See yourself already in possession of what you desire. Feel the weight of money in your hand. Picture yourself giving freely, paying bills with ease. walking with confidence. Let the image saturate your mind until it feels more real than the room around you. Then seal it with a simple affirmation. I am one with divine abundance. It flows to me now. Drift into sleep holding this image, and the subconscious will begin its work. It does not argue. It does not question. It simply obeys. In time, the outer world must conform to the inner image, just as the harvest conforms to the seed. Do not overlook the power of gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet that multiplies. The man who complains repels wealth, but the one who gives thanks attracts more. Gratitude is not reserved for the day of plenty. It is most powerful when spoken in the day of lack. If your purse is empty, bless it as though it were full. If your table is bare, give thanks as though it were abundant. In doing so, you impress upon your subconscious the image of plenty, not scarcity. And as you sustain this gratitude, life begins to echo it. Say often, "Thank you, Father, for the riches of life that flow to me now." Gratitude turns every moment into prayer, every thought into wealth, and wealth follows gratitude as surely as dawn follows night. There was once a singer, paralyzed with fear, before stepping onto the stage. He said, "I cannot perform, my voice will fail." Yet he remembered to command his inner mind. He whispered, "I sing with ease and power. The spirit of harmony moves through me." Instantly he felt a surge of strength. He performed with brilliance, and the audience rose in applause. That same law works in your finances. If you say, "I can't make it," nothing works. You choke the flow. But if you say, "Infinite intelligence supplies me richly, all my needs are met," your subconscious obeys and energizes you with opportunities, ideas, and favor. Never forget, your subconscious mind is your book of life. Write wisely upon it. Wealth is also a matter of circulation. Money must move. The universe is built on cycles, breath, tides, seasons. To hoard in fear is to block the rhythm of life. To give with joy is to keep the current alive. A woman once told me she tithed reluctantly, always resenting what she gave. I told her that resentment cancels the gift. She must give joyfully or not at all. She began to affirm, "I give with love and it returns to me multiplied." Soon her giving turned from duty into delight, and her income increased beyond expectation. Remember this, giving is not loss but multiplication. The subconscious records the feeling behind the act, not the act itself. Give with love and love returns. Give with joy and joy returns. Give with fear and loss returns. Choose wisely how you give, for in it you declare how you shall receive. Another key is expectancy. Expectation is faith in motion. The one who prays for wealth but expects bills to pile higher is divided in mind. A divided mind receives nothing, but the one who prays, affirms, visualizes, and then expects the result to appear has already opened the channel. Expectancy sharpens the vision, heightens awareness, and attracts the right opportunities. A man who expected failure always saw obstacles. When he shifted to expectancy of success, he began to notice doors that had been open all along. Expectancy tunes your inner ear to the frequency of abundance. Say within yourself, "I expect only the best. I walk in divine favor." Every day brings new opportunities for prosperity, and as you expect it, you will see it. Let us engrave this lesson with affirmation. Take your pen and write these words. I welcome wealth as my rightful guest. I give with joy, and I receive in abundance. Say it aloud. Let it echo through your heart. Repeat it until it imprints itself on the subconscious, for the subconscious is listening, ready to obey, ready to create. You are the captain. Give the order. You are the architect. Draw the plan. You are the heir of divine abundance. Claim your inheritance. Walk now as one who knows it is already his, and you will see wealth appear in ways you could never have planned. Wealth is born in silence, long before it is seen in substance. The world is filled with men and women who work feverishly, striving outwardly, yet inwardly they are consumed by worry, and so their labor yields little fruit. But the man who works inwardly first, planting the seed of prosperity in his subconscious mind, finds that outer efforts multiply effortlessly. You must understand this. Your subconscious is the workshop where invisible ideas take form, where unseen patterns are built before they are cast into the material world. When you pray with faith, when you affirm with conviction, when you visualize with feeling, you are building the mold, and once the mold is complete, reality must pour itself into it. This is law, unchanging and infallible. The one who neglects the inner mold will always struggle outwardly, but the one who shapes it within will see the outer shape itself in harmony. A man once came to me in despair. He had lost his fortune and thought his life was ruined. He pleaded for a way to rebuild, but all he could see was the shadow of failure. I told him plainly, "You have been worshipping the loss. You think about it, talk about it, replay it in your mind, and by doing so you keep impressing failure upon your subconscious. That is why opportunity avoids you." Then I instructed him to reverse the pattern. Each morning he was to affirm, "Infinite intelligence restores all that I have lost. New riches flow to me in divine order. I prosper again." At night he was to picture himself shaking hands over new contracts, smiling as he deposited checks, rejoicing with his family. Slowly his mind shifted, and in less than a year opportunities reappeared, new ventures opened, and his fortune was restored. The outer returned because the inner had first been rebuilt. There is a universal law you must remember. Whatever you attach to the phrase "I am," your subconscious accepts as a command. If you say "I am poor," poverty takes root. If you say "I am unworthy," doors remain closed. But if you declare "I am abundant, I am guided, I am prosperous," those words become seeds planted in fertile soil. The subconscious does not argue, it executes. This is why careless words are so dangerous. Many men curse their own wealth without realizing it, repeating phrases of defeat until lack becomes their companion. Train yourself now to reverse this habit. Speak only what you wish to live, and when fear rises, counter it instantly. Do not let "I am weak" stand unchallenged. Replace it at once with "I am strong in divine supply." Do not let "I am broke" stain your mind. Replace it with "I am richly provided for in every way." Wealth is also a matter of harmony. If your mind is divided, affirming abundance while harboring fear, you send conflicting commands to your subconscious. The result is confusion, delay, stagnation. A man who sows wheat and weeds together cannot expect a pure harvest. So too with your thoughts. Eliminate the weeds of fear, resentment, and doubt. Nurture only seeds of faith, expectancy, and gratitude. Harmony between conscious and subconscious thought produces swift results. Disharmony delays them. This is why prayer is most effective when you enter it in a state of calm faith, not panic. If you pray in desperation, begging and pleading, you are impressing fear, not faith. But if you pray with quiet conviction, knowing the answer is already yours, your subconscious receives it as fact and sets the law in motion. I recall a woman who longed to marry, but was filled with bitterness toward men from past disappointments. She prayed for love, but carried hatred in her heart. Her subconscious accepted the hatred, not the prayer, and so her relationships failed. When she finally forgave, when she began affirming love, joy, and harmony, her subconscious shifted. She later met a man in the most ordinary of places, a drugstore, and they built a happy life together. The same principle applies to wealth. You cannot pray for prosperity while resenting the rich. You cannot affirm abundance while secretly despising money. Align your inner state with what you desire, and the subconscious will outpicture it without resistance. The subconscious also responds to imagery more powerfully than words alone. If you desire wealth, see yourself already living it. If you want freedom from debt, picture the letter stamp "Paid in full." If you long for financial security, imagine yourself resting in peace, your affairs in order, your family safe and provided for. These images bypass the reasoning mind and go straight to the subconscious, where they are received as reality. Combine them with affirmations and their power multiplies. This is why I urge you to practice nightly visualization. Let the last impression upon your mind before sleep be the image of abundance. Your subconscious, working while you rest, will labor all night to bring it into form. You must also learn to release your desire after impressing it. Do not clutch it with anxiety. Do not dig up the seed to check if it is growing. Plant it and let it be. Trust the law. Many delay their prosperity because they pray for wealth. Then rise from prayer doubting whether it will work. Doubt is poison to the seed. Faith is water to it. Once you have affirmed and visualized, let go. Move through your day with confidence that the law is working. Opportunities may come in ways you never expected. The answer may appear through channels you never imagined. Do not restrict the infinite by dictating how it must come. Simply know it is already secured, and give thanks in advance. Let us anchor this lesson with an affirmation. Take your pen and write these words: I am abundant, I am guided, I am prosperous. Say them aloud. Feel them vibrate through your being. Repeat them until they become the very atmosphere of your mind. These words are not idle, they are commands to your subconscious, which even now is listening, recording, and preparing to manifest. Speak them daily, and you will watch your life transform. For wealth is not something you chase, it is something you embody. And as you embody it within, it cannot help but appear without. So I urge you, guard your words, guard your images, guard your beliefs, for these are the seeds you plant in the soil of your subconscious. Plant fear and reap lack. Plant faith and reap abundance. Plant doubt and reap delay. Plant conviction and reap prosperity. The law is impartial. It does not decide for you, it obeys you. Decide now what you will plant, for in it lies the future of your wealth. And remember always, what is impressed is expressed, and what you believe you become. Every man and woman carries within them an invisible treasury far greater than gold or silver. This treasury is the subconscious mind, the storehouse of ideas, images, and beliefs that shape destiny. Yet most live as paupers beside a vault, never opening it, never realizing the wealth it contains. They struggle and strive outwardly, blind to the truth that the key is inward. The law is simple: what you impress, you express. If you impress images of abundance, peace, and confidence, you express prosperity, harmony, and success. If you impress images of fear, resentment, and limitation, you express poverty, conflict, and failure. The subconscious is impartial. It brings forth whatever seed is planted. You are the sower, you are the planter, and life is the harvest of your inner field. I once knew a man who constantly complained of lack. His words were always, "I can't afford it, I'll never get ahead." His subconscious took these words as commands and faithfully created conditions to match. His income was small. Opportunities slipped through his hands, and bills seemed to multiply. One day he decided to reverse the pattern. Instead of repeating lack, he began to affirm, "I am abundantly supplied. Infinite intelligence provides for me in ways I cannot see." At first it felt false, even foolish, but he persisted, repeating it morning and night, writing it, saying it, imagining it. Slowly his subconscious absorbed the new pattern. Within months his fortunes turned. Opportunities appeared, debts were cleared, and he began to save. The law had not changed, only the seed he planted. And so I tell you, plant wisely. The greatest obstacle to wealth is not the absence of money, but the presence of fear. Fear is faith inverted. Fear believes in lack, in limitation, and defeat. And what you believe, you create. Many pray for abundance, but secretly fear poverty. And so their subconscious manifests the fear, not the prayer. You must uproot fear with faith. When fear whispers, "You may fail," answer with conviction, "I cannot fail, for infinite intelligence guides me." When fear says, "You may lose," declare, "I am safe, I am provided for. I am secure in divine supply." Each reversal weakens fear and strengthens faith, until faith becomes the dominant seed. And once faith rules, prosperity flows. The law of belief does not bow to fear. It obeys conviction. And so your task is to let faith become your only conviction. Another man I counseled was paralyzed by envy. He saw others prosper and felt bitterness rise within him. He thought their gain meant his loss. But envy is a denial of your own abundance. It is telling the subconscious, "There is not enough for me." And the subconscious obliges, producing more lack. I taught him instead to bless wealth wherever he saw it. If he passed a mansion, he whispered, "Thank you, Father, for the riches that flow to this man. The same riches flow to me." If he saw another succeed, he rejoiced inwardly, affirming, "What God does for one, he does for all, and he does it now for me." As his envy dissolved, his opportunities multiplied. He learned the truth that abundance is infinite, and blessing it in others opens the channel for it in yourself. The subconscious responds not to empty ritual, but to living conviction. You may repeat affirmations 1,000 times, but if you feel fear in your heart, it is fear that is impressed. Words without feeling are like seeds scattered on stone. But words charged with emotion are seeds planted in fertile soil. This is why I tell you to speak your affirmations with feeling. Do not chant them mechanically. See the truth of them. Feel the reality of them. Imagine the fulfillment of them. When you say, "I am wealthy," let your body relax into the peace of wealth already secured. When you say, "I am abundant," let your mind rejoice as if the abundance were present. Feeling is the bridge between word and manifestation. Without it, the word remains empty. With it, the word becomes flesh. Prayer is most powerful when it moves from asking to knowing. Asking implies separation. Knowing affirms union. If you beg for wealth, you affirm that you lack it. If you declare wealth, you affirm that it is already yours. This is the prayer of faith. It is not pleading for God to act, but aligning with the law that is already acting. When you declare, "I am supplied, I am prospered, I am guided," you are not convincing God, you are convincing your subconscious. And once convinced, it cannot help but express the pattern outwardly. Do not beg for what is already given. Claim it, accept it, walk in it. This is the secret of answered prayer. Gratitude amplifies this process. A grateful heart impresses the subconscious with abundance, even in the midst of lack. A man with only one coin who blesses it as though it were a fortune sends a message of wealth to his subconscious, and more coins follow. A man with riches who complains of what he lacks impresses scarcity and invites loss. Gratitude is wealth consciousness in action. Say often, "Thank you, Father, for the supply that flows to me now. Thank you for the riches of life that surround me. Thank you for the unseen channels opening before me." Let gratitude be your constant companion, and you will find life reflecting it in multiplying ways. Circulation is also vital. Money, like blood, must flow to sustain life. If you clutch it in fear, you block the current. If you release it with joy, you keep the rhythm alive. Give freely, spend wisely, invest with confidence, and money will return multiplied. A woman once said she feared giving because she thought she might never get it back. I told her that fear dammed the river. When she began to give with joy, she found money returning in unexpected ways, always multiplied. Remember, the subconscious records not the act, but the attitude. If you give in fear, you declare lack. If you give in love, you declare abundance, and abundance answers. Let us now impress this truth with a living declaration. Take your paper and write, "I am abundant. I am fearless. I am free." Wealth circulates in my life joyfully and multiplies endlessly. Say it aloud until you feel it, until the words vibrate with life. This is your command to the subconscious. This is your seed of prosperity. Plant it deeply, water it with faith, guard it with vigilance, and watch the harvest come. For the law is faithful, the law is constant, the law cannot fail. What you believe, you become. What you impress, you express. And as you walk in this truth, you will see wealth rise like the dawn, inevitable and unstoppable. Wealth is a language, and your subconscious mind is always listening to the words you speak and the images you project. Most people speak the dialect of lack. They complain of bills, they sigh over debts, they mutter about high prices, and in doing so, they are commanding the subconscious to create more of the same. Every complaint is a seed, and every seed grows after its kind. If you sow resentment, you reap more reasons to resent. If you sow gratitude, you reap more reasons to be grateful. The subconscious does not judge whether the seed is good or bad, true or false. It simply accepts and multiplies it. This is why I tell you to discipline your speech. Speak only of what you wish to see multiplied. Let your tongue be the pen that writes prosperity upon the book of your subconscious mind. A woman once told me that whenever she received her paycheck, her first thought was, "It will never be enough." Month after month, she repeated this inner decree, and her life proved her words true. I instructed her to reverse it. Each time she received her pay, she was to bless it, saying, "I rejoice in this supply, and greater supply flows to me constantly." At first it felt forced, but she persisted. Within weeks, she found unexpected opportunities for additional income, and soon her finances exceeded her needs. The change was not in the paycheck, but in the pattern impressed upon her subconscious. What she once cursed, she began to bless, and blessing multiplied it. So I ask you now, what are you cursing with your words? And what might happen if you began to bless it instead? The subconscious also responds to expectancy with remarkable accuracy. A man who expects bills, delays, and disappointments will find them at every turn. A man who expects windfalls, progress, and opportunities will attract them as naturally as a magnet draws iron. Expectation is a form of faith, and faith is creative. Whatever you truly expect, you invite. So train yourself to expect only good. When you awaken in the morning, do not brace for problems. Expect solutions. When you walk into a room, do not expect rejection. Expect favor. When you pursue a venture, do not expect loss. Expect success. And as you carry this expectancy, life will echo it. Say often, "I expect only the best. I expect prosperity. I expect divine favor." The subconscious will record it, and the universe will arrange itself to honor it. Do not underestimate the influence of imagination. Imagination is the workshop of the subconscious. It is through vivid images, felt with intensity, that you impress wealth upon your inner mind. If you imagine lack, fear, and failure, your subconscious will faithfully construct them. If you imagine wealth, peace, and success, it will just as faithfully construct those. A man once visualized himself constantly struggling with creditors, and his life never improved until he learned to replace the picture. He began to imagine himself shaking hands in agreement, paying bills with ease, walking in dignity. Those images impressed daily took root, and in time his circumstances aligned with them. Remember this, you cannot rise higher than the images you hold. Lift the image and life will rise to meet it. Prayer is the highest form of imagination, for in prayer you see and feel your desire is already fulfilled. Do not pray timidly, as if asking a distant God for crumbs. Pray boldly, as one who knows he is heir to infinite riches. If you desire freedom from debt, do not beg for escape. Declare freedom is already yours. Picture the debt cleared. Feel the relief. Rejoice as though it were done. If you desire increase, see yourself living in abundance. Hear the words of others congratulating you. Feel the satisfaction of prosperity. This is the prayer of faith, and faith is the only language the subconscious understands. Speak it with conviction, and the law of life must respond. Gratitude, expectancy, imagination. These three form a triad of wealth. Gratitude affirms that abundance is already present. Expectancy declares that more is on the way. Imagination shapes the pattern into which it must flow. Together they create an unbreakable circuit of prosperity. Practice them daily. Begin with gratitude in the morning. Walk in expectancy throughout the day, and close the evening with imagination. In this way you saturate your subconscious on every side, leaving no room for doubt or fear. And the result must be wealth, for the law of belief never fails. What is impressed is expressed. What is affirmed inwardly becomes manifested outwardly. There is also the law of non-resistance. Many people delay their prosperity by fighting circumstances, resenting others, and resisting life. Resistance tightens the mind, blocks the flow, and shuts the channel. Non-resistance opens it. When you surrender to the divine flow, when you let go of struggle and allow infinite intelligence to work through you, prosperity comes with ease. This does not mean passivity, it means trust. It means ceasing to force and beginning to flow. The man who resisted every obstacle in anger always found more obstacles. When he learned to affirm, divine order is at work, and all things work together for good, his path cleared, the obstacles dissolved, and the way opened. So release resistance, affirm harmony, trust the flow, and you will see wealth follow naturally. Another key is forgiveness. For unforgiveness is resistance in its most poisonous form. To hold bitterness is to block your own prosperity. The subconscious, fed with anger, cannot bring forth abundance. But the moment you forgive, the dam breaks and the river flows again. Forgive not for their sake alone, but for your own freedom. Forgive to prosper. Say within yourself, I release all resentment. I forgive all, and I prosper freely. And as you do, you clear the channel of your subconscious, and wealth can move without hindrance. Many have found that as soon as they forgave, opportunities appeared, debts dissolved, and finances improved. Forgiveness is not just moral, it is financial wisdom. Now let us impress these truths with a living declaration. Take your paper and write, I expect abundance. I imagine prosperity. I give thanks for wealth already mine. Say it aloud with conviction. Repeat it until it vibrates within you. For these words are seeds, and the subconscious is fertile soil. Plant them daily. Water them with faith, guard them from doubt, and they will bear fruit in divine order. This is the law. It does not fail. And as you walk in gratitude, expectancy, and imagination, you will watch wealth rise around you as surely as the sun rises in the morning sky. A man once told me he felt cursed. Everything he touched seemed to fail. Every venture collapsed. I asked him to describe his daily thoughts. He confessed that each morning he began with the fear. What if today something goes wrong? His subconscious, loyal and unquestioning, produced exactly what he expected. I told him to reverse it. Each morning he was to affirm, today divine order governs all my affairs. Everything I touch prospers. Success flows to me and through me. At first he struggled to believe it, but persistence carved a new groove in his subconscious. Soon his ventures began to succeed. Partnerships flourished, and opportunities multiplied. The curse was never outside him. It was the belief he carried within. Once the belief changed, the life changed. This is the law, impartial and unchanging. Guard your mornings carefully, for the thoughts you impress at the dawn of the day set the tone for all that follows. Do not rise rehearsing yesterday's failures or anticipating today's troubles. Rise in faith. Rise in gratitude. Rise with affirmations of abundance. Let your first thoughts be seeds of prosperity, and you will find your hours bearing fruit in harmony. The conscious mind is the captain, the subconscious is the crew. If the captain begins the day with confusion and fear, the crew steers the ship toward wreckage. If the captain begins with clarity and faith, the crew steers toward safe harbors and overflowing supply. Speak to your subconscious at dawn, and it will obey at dusk. True wealth is not the mere possession of things, but the consciousness of abundance. A man with millions who trembles in fear of losing them is poorer than the laborer who trusts divine supply each day. Wealth is not measured by coins, but by confidence, not by holdings, but by harmony. To live in wealth is to know inwardly that you are always provided for, that the same infinite intelligence which paints the flowers and sustains the stars flows ceaselessly through you. When you awaken to this truth, anxiety dissolves, and prosperity becomes natural. The universe is not stingy, it is not scarce, it is limitless, overflowing, inexhaustible, and you, made in the image of the infinite, are heir to that same inexhaustible supply. You must also remember that your wealth is for service, not hoarding. The man who clutches in fear shrinks his world. The one who circulates in faith expands it. When you prosper, you are to be a channel, not a dam. As money flows through you, bless it, direct it, let it serve good, and it will return multiplied. A man who hoards in fear will always fear loss, but the one who gives in confidence will always see return. The subconscious records the feeling of abundance, not the figure in the account. If you give with joy, it records abundance and multiplies it. If you give with fear, it records lack and reduces it. So give with joy, and you will always live in joy. You must also learn to think from the end, not toward it. If you desire wealth, do not fix your eyes on the struggle of acquiring it. Fix them on the state of already having it. Imagine yourself living in freedom, acting with confidence, blessing others with generosity. Feel it real. Live in the assumption that it is already yours. The subconscious accepts assumptions as facts, and life arranges itself to prove them. This is why Jesus said, when you pray, believe that you receive, and you shall have. Believe you receive, now, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. When you walk as though it were already done, the universe echoes your conviction. Think from the end, and the end will unfold. One woman longed to own her own home, yet she always said, I will never be able to afford it. Her subconscious heard the decree and closed every door. I told her to change her words, to begin affirming, I live in my right home, provided by divine supply. Every detail is perfect, and I rejoice in it now. She wrote it, repeated it, and visualized it with joy. Soon unexpected opportunities arose. A house appeared that suited her exactly, and means to obtain it came in ways she never could have planned. The law of belief worked, not because she forced it, but because she aligned with it. She stopped declaring lack and began declaring abundance. Her subconscious obeyed, and her desire became form. Another law of wealth is detachment. When you cling desperately to money, you tell your subconscious that it is scarce and must be clung to. When you release it with trust, you tell your subconscious that supply is infinite. Detachment is not carelessness, it is confidence. It is knowing that the same source that provided today provides tomorrow. It is resting in the certainty that your supply does not come from men or markets, but from the infinite. The detached mind is free, peaceful, creative, and receptive. The anxious mind is bound, restless, and blind to opportunity. Detach from fear, and you will attach to abundance. Let us engrave these truths with affirmation. Take your pen and write, everything I touch prospers. I live from the end. I circulate wealth with joy, and it returns multiplied. Say it aloud now. Feel its vibration. Impress it upon your subconscious. Let it be the song of your mornings and the peace of your nights. For as you believe, so shall you receive. The law is faithful. The law is unchanging. And the wealth you seek is already waiting within you, ready to flow as soon as you command it. The wealth you seek is not distant. It is here, waiting to be awakened by the images and convictions you impress upon your subconscious mind. Too long have men begged for scraps from the outer world while ignoring the banquet spread within them. Too long have they said, if only I had more, when the truth is that they already possess more than enough, if only they would claim it. Wealth is a state of consciousness, and consciousness is the only treasure that cannot be stolen. The one who knows himself as abundant is abundant, regardless of outer appearances, and the one who clings to fear is poor, even if surrounded by riches. This is why the scriptures declare, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Think abundance in your heart, and you will live abundance in your life. A man once told me he was weary of failure. Every venture collapsed, every door seemed shut. When I asked what he told himself daily, he admitted that his constant thought was, I never succeed. His subconscious, obedient and unquestioning, delivered precisely what he commanded. I told him to reverse it at once, to declare instead, I succeed in all I do. Infinite intelligence prospers every step I take. He began to repeat it daily, writing it, speaking it, imagining its truth. At first his outer world looked the same, but within weeks his confidence grew. New contacts appeared, and opportunities multiplied. Soon he was thriving in ventures that once would have failed. Nothing had changed but the seed, and when the seed changed, the harvest changed with it. This is the unfailing law. What you impress is expressed. Wealth responds to conviction, not to desperation. A beggar mentality cannot produce a king's abundance. If you pray in panic, you impress panic. If you affirm with fear, you impress fear. But if you declare with calm conviction, knowing that you already possess what you seek, then the subconscious accepts it as reality and begins to create accordingly. This is why Jesus said, according to your faith be it unto you. Not according to your wish, not according to your plea, but according to your faith. Faith is confidence in law. It is certainty that what you believe is already done. When you pray, do not look outward for signs. Look inward and know. Act as if it were already true, and soon the outer world must echo it. Many people make the mistake of tying their wealth to circumstances, jobs, or people. They think supply comes from a paycheck, a client, a market. But these are only channels, never the source. The true source is the infinite within you, and it never runs dry. If one channel closes, another opens. If one door shuts, a better door swings wide. Do not fear the shifting of channels. Do not cling to a single source. Trust the infinite, and you will never lack. Your subconscious, when impressed with the truth that supply is eternal, will create new channels, new opportunities, new flows of abundance. Say often, God is my source. Infinite supply is mine now. Channels may change, but the source is constant. Let this truth be your anchor, and fear will never rule you again. You must also remember that wealth is meant to be shared. To hoard is to suffocate. To circulate is to multiply. Every act of generosity tells your subconscious, I live in abundance, and abundance answers. A woman once feared giving, believing she had too little. But when she began to give joyfully, even in small amounts, she found her income growing, her needs met, her heart lighter. The act of giving impressed the belief of plenty, and plenty followed. So give with joy, give with confidence, give knowing that what you release returns multiplied. Your subconscious records the attitude of the gift, not the size. If you give with fear, you reap lack. If you give with joy, you reap abundance. Detachment is another secret of prosperity. When you clutch money in fear, you declare to your subconscious that there is not enough, and so it withholds. But when you release with trust, you declare that supply is infinite, and so it multiplies. Detachment does not mean carelessness, it means confidence. It means resting in the truth that the same infinite that provided today provides tomorrow. Detach from fear, and you will discover opportunities, ideas, and blessings flowing freely. The man who clings is bound, but the one who trusts is free. Say within yourself, I am free from fear of loss. I trust the infinite to provide always. Let this detachment open the floodgates of prosperity. Now let us engrave this teaching into the very depths of your mind. Take your paper and write in bold letters, I am one with infinite wealth. Supply flows to me freely, abundantly, ceaselessly. I give with joy. I receive with joy, and I live in peace. Say it aloud, feel it, repeat it until it becomes the very air you breathe. These words are not poetry, they are commands to your subconscious. Plant them daily, and they will grow into a harvest beyond your imagining. For the law of life is the law of belief. What you believe, you create. What you impress, you express. And as you believe now, so shall it be. So walk in this truth with confidence. Think abundance, feel abundance, act in abundance, and abundance will surround you. Let every prayer be an affirmation, every thought a seed, every word a declaration. The law cannot fail you, for it is written into the fabric of life itself. You are not a beggar of wealth, you are the heir of infinite riches. Claim your inheritance boldly, live in it daily, and let the world see the reflection of your inner conviction, shining as prosperity, freedom, and peace. The treasure is within you, open it and let it flow.